Coach, just some thoughts on practice so far, and then we have questions here in the room.
Yeah, just wrapped up practice 4. Got into a situation. We got some more situational football going ahead. Pretty happy with our intensity, our speed that we've played with so far. I think each practice you've seen incremental improvement from practice 1 to practice 4 in both our speed, our violence, our tempo. So, I feel like we're building, and we still got a lot more to move forward with. So, pretty happy with where we're at.
How would you compare this spring start to how you started last spring?
I think it's two completely different scenarios. I was learning a lot about our team last year, just coming in with old and new. As Coach Simiak has said, we've pretty much overhauled our roster. This is our roster now, so we've recruited this roster. A lot of relationships we've built with the guys in the building. So, the speed, I think the violence, and certainly the connection that we've had in this spring versus last spring, those are some of the things I noticed the most.
How do you lean on guys like Timmy, Tyler Martin, TJ McGee at times like this while everyone's still trying to adjust to the
Yep. Well, those guys, they're leaders, natural leaders in our program. And having been here, the guys that we've chosen and they've chosen to stay with us, they know what we're about in our foundation. So a lot of the ways they can help guys just with the practice tempo, the leadership of how we're supposed to go through drills, our transitions, the level of violence and communication that we play with. I think as leaders, it's their approach that puts them in that position. It's not necessarily what they do, what they say, but it's their actions. So I think those guys are leaders by action and easy to follow for the new guys.
For you, what's it been like last year? You guys were kind of jumping on the moving train, first year, everything there. How much more comfortable are you and the staff, and how has that translated to the way you work with guys?
Well, I think that's a great point. I think the biggest thing, like you said, is the staff, right? Kind of thrown into the mix in January last year where it was recruiting, building a winter workout plan and teaching the staff all in one, where we really got time to go through, self-scout, evaluate ourselves, our players, our scheme, reteach it multiple times. So I think there's a lot more of understanding within our staff and more so learning how to work together, appropriate jobs, assignments, who's good at what. So I think we've got a real good feel for each other. I think that'll improve moving forward.
What did you learn about on the field, and how much different will this defense be this year than it was last year?
Well, it's going to be different because it's a lot of new guys. But schematically, in terms of what we do, it's going to be very similar. We believe in what we do. We're an attack-style defense who likes to be aggressive. But I think the faces and the types of tools and people we use in certain spots will certainly be different, and that's what we're learning right now. Who's good at what, putting guys in different spots and learning about them and the things that they can help us with, and ultimately the things that they may or may not do well. Just learning about this team now.
You've had a lot of new pieces in the secondary, Jamon Harmon, Isaiah Reed. How is that kind of combining with the talent you already have there and the talent you've brought back?
Yep, just with those two names that you had mentioned, the first thing I think of is those guys have played a lot of football. So when you watch them, they're very mature in their preparation and how they go about things. They have accumulative reps, so they've seen a lot that maybe some of the younger guys or guys who don't have that playing experience have seen. But ultimately, they're coming in here, they're vulnerable, they're hungry, and they're humble. They've played a lot of football, but they have no expectations. So they're going out and earning it, and they've had a really good 4-practice stretch.
How does the situational defense help prepare your team?
Well, that's the game, right? It's all situational football, down, distance, personnel, field position. So as you start to change those things in front of them, a lot of the ownership then falls on them because a lot of that happens within the drive. I'm able to talk to one person at a time, but understanding 3rd and 3 versus 3rd and 9, 11 and 12 personnel. So we had a lot of those situations today constantly changing, and guys have to cerebral, process, formation tendencies, all of those other things. So I think situational football, the more we can apply it and sprinkle it in within practice and change the situations, that's the game, because it's never the same play twice.
With so many transfers coming into the team, how have you seen the team cohesively off the field, and how has that transferred into the practice?
Yeah, we've put a lot of emphasis on our connection. I think a lot of the guys who have been here believe in the guys that we've recruited. They've been a part of this recruiting process, and they're surrounding themselves with each other. You see them constantly eating together. We're trying to find different ways to get guys and learn about offensive, defensive guys, trying to interconnect those guys. So, listen, the best defenses that I've been a part of, they play for each other. So if we can get these guys connected and ultimately play for the guy next to them, we'll get the most out of this group, and I think it's heading in that direction.
Speaking of new recruits, coach, there's a lot of offensive talent that came in. How does that help your defense getting reps against high-level guys like that?
Well, I think competition is what brings out the best in us, right? So you look across from skill to the offensive front man, we've got some talent over there, and then Pop obviously brings that competitive nature as the quarterbacks are very well coached and attacking us. So I think we bring out the best in each other, and that's what you want out of a practice is kind of a punch for punch mentality. You never really want it to go one way because you want it to be competitive. So it's challenging, and we like that.
For you, what is your time frame about your defense learning everything? Do you want them to have it all down really well by the time they come back in July, or is it a work in progress for you?
Yeah, the hope. I don't necessarily think of it as a time frame. We'll probably 3 different installation sequences with the spring, summer, and then the fall going forward. So we have time, but time runs out. You know what I mean? It moves quickly. My biggest thing is I don't want to move forward without them fully understanding with where we're at. So if we can get good at the things that we do really well, especially our fundamentals, and then go scheme by scheme and continue to build with more understanding, that's really what I'm looking for. But the hope is after hearing it 2 to 3 times with winter, spring, and summer, by the time they get here in fall, it should be second nature. Now we're just talking about the little details within the play.
Coach, obviously you brought in guys last year like Dinos, Ramondo, J.C. Clark. This year you bring in Teron Johnson, Corey Warner. What's kind of different and unique about this freshman class, and what have you seen with them so far throughout the practices?
The thing I noticed with this group is they listen. They're very good listeners, and I think a lot of that speaks to the people in their room. Like I talked about the leaders, whether it be guys that were here or transfers, I think they gravitate towards guys like Isaiah Reed, Tyler Martin, and Timmy Heinz-Peter, of the guys you mentioned. I think they gravitate towards them, so they're constantly trying to learn. They listen, and they just want to do things right. So I think they have the right approach is what I noticed the most.
What was your reaction? What was your reaction to the schedule?
Knew it was going to be a max schedule. In terms of who we play, I just like to put the ball down, line up. Week by week, we'll challenge our opponent and we'll go. But I haven't thought too much, particularly of the teams we see. But I'm happy we have it so we can move forward and plan.
Last year, by the time the end of the season rolled around, I remember Joe telling us he was working out with the defensive backs covering. Are you happy with the numbers that you have and hoping that everything stays pretty?
Yeah, right now, that's ever changing. Obviously, with last year, dealing with injuries and the number of things that happen, you're always constantly building a plan. You're trying to cross-train people in case things do happen. So I learned from that. But you're happy now, but that certainly can change within a day.
Was that an emphasis in the offseason to have more depth back there?
Certainly, and I think it's depth everywhere, right? Is bringing in high-caliber athletes, that can sustain this level of football. I think, Coach Harasimiak, I know he spoke about it, but a lot of injuries, man, they come from your athletic build in a lot of ways. Some freak incidents, but I think we have guys that go about treatment, the level of hydration that we approach with. And I think these guys have the right mindset and care about their bodies and their car.